Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We are going to chat about every single one of my 5 stars and what I think about them now. I'm not going to do this in any particular order because I just had Goodreads sort it and it kind of just put them in a random order, which is fine. And we're just going to see, do I still think it's a 5 star? Do I feel like I should reread it? Am I gonna make it a lower rating? I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. I have my computer here. So yeah, let's get into it. The first book on the list is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This book I would 100% leave as a 5 star. I did write a review for this one and I said I'm pretending that the last 20% of this book doesn't exist. If you know, you know. This book was so sad but also so beautiful. There's a sequel called Fly Away that I have yet to read, but I think it might just be too sad to read. If you've read Firefly Lane, then you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that book, I feel like there's a lot of complex emotions in that book, but it's phenomenal. Next, I'm just going to talk about this as a whole because I didn't realize this, but I rated every single book in the ACOTAR series a 5 star. Did not realize that. And honestly, I don't think I would keep every single book at a 5 star, but I don't really remember what happens in each book to change a rating on one of them. I really don't know. I think maybe A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the one that's the Christmas novella, I don't think I'd leave that at 5 stars. But other than that, I feel like I might leave all of the other ones like that. The final book, A Court of Silver Flames, is my favorite book in the ACOTAR series. That's the first book that I ever decided to give 6 stars. So good. I don't care about the Nesta hate. I don't care. I love her. Keeping on the Sarah J Maas train, we have Queen of Shadows, which is part of the Throne of Glass series. 5 stars. Leave it at 5 stars. I believe that's the one that follows, I think you say her name is Manon. I always said it Manon when I was reading it, but I think it's Manon, which feels wrong coming out of my mouth. But I think you get a lot of her in that book, and I really grew to like her character. At first I was like, I don't want her point of view. I don't want to listen to her. And then you really grow to love her. And then, of course, Kingdom of Ash, the final book in the Throne of Glass series, 5 stars, 6 stars. Oh my god. To this day, I finished that book in December. Oh my god. I finished that book in December of 2023. It's gonna be almost 3 years since I read. Oh my god. Wow. That's insane. I can't get over that. It's been almost 3 years and I am still thinking about this book quite often. I'll see TikToks about it and it will still make me cry because I don't think I've ever been that attached to characters. I don't also think I've ever read a series that long, so that might be a part of it, but so much happens in those stories from Assassin's Blade to Kingdom of Ash, you wouldn't even know. It's not even, the characters have grown so much and they're so different. Those books have my heart. I don't think I ever will read books as good as those. I don't think I will. And I also rated Empire of Storms 5 stars, and I think that one, I don't really remember what that one was following. The whole story kind of meshes in my head, so I don't remember what that one is about, but I think that one's the one that you tandem read with Tower of Dawn. And Tower of Dawn, I think, is the one that follows. Don't you say his name is Kale? I don't know. Chow. I pronounced it as Chow when I was reading, but I think it's Kale. I think that's the one they tandem read with it. But I don't remember what Empire of Storms was following. I don't know. I just love them all. I love them all. Honestly, I could probably rate every single book in that series 5 stars. 6-star series. It's phenomenal. If you haven't read it yet, read it, and read Assassin's Blade first. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, so moving forward, oh my gosh, this is from 2022. That's crazy. I have All the Bright Places. This book is very emotional. If you're planning on reading it, check the trigger warnings because you're basically following 2 depressed kids. It ends very, very sad. I'm sure you can imagine how it ends. I remember reading this because I read it in December and I was reading it after Christmas and I was sick, and I remember I was crying so much. This is probably one of the first books I read that actually made me genuinely bawl my eyes out, and that will definitely stay a 5 star. Next we have 1,000 Boy Kisses. I think I'd move this one more to a 4-star read. It was really good. I feel like it's hard to be I don't know, because I read this one in 2023, so that was 2 years ago. That's gonna be really hard to like really remember how it made me feel, but also it's a very, very sad story. However, the ending I feel like was unrealistic if I'm remembering it correctly, so I feel like that's more of like a 4-star. I feel like if I can't remember much about it, it shouldn't really still be a 5-star. And then this book, 100% still a 5-star read, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I love V.E. Schwab. I've only read 2 of her books, and I love her. I don't even care. I wrote a review on this one, which I read this one in 2022. Crazy. But I said, favorite book ever. I adore the character so much. And I still stand by that. That book is phenomenal. I really like more slow-moving stories. I don't need a crazy fast-paced story to keep my attention. I am perfectly happy with your more following character development versus an actual plot, but the way that book ends is insane and really sad. Oh my gosh. Just thinking about it. I do want to reread that at one point, honestly, because that is just a beautiful, beautiful story. Alright, now we have the Mindfuck series. You can either like buy the book as a whole, but also they're on Kindle Unlimited and you can read them all as like each separate books, but they're really, really short. And I rated, this is saying the 5th one, I don't remember how many there are, but the 5th one I rated 5 stars. That series as a whole, I would definitely still keep a 5 stars. It's very much so supporting women's rights and wrongs, but she's not even doing anything wrong. I don't care what anyone says, she's not doing anything wrong. Everyone in that book deserved what they got. Oh, now we have more recent 5 stars, which is exciting. We have Beartown by Fredrik Backman. This is the second book I ever read by him and the second book of his that I rated 5 stars. He is a phenomenal storytelling. If you haven't read Beartown, perfect time to pick it up. It's so amazing. Forewarning, look up the trigger warnings for that. So something happens and then the rest of that book and the next 2 books is kind of just following what has happened after the one thing happens. And you can say it's about a town who loves hockey. It is so much deeper than that, and I really think everyone should read this series as a whole. It is phenomenal. 6-star series. Alright, so then I just talked about it, but I rated every single book in the Beartown trilogy 5 stars. 6-star series, phenomenal. I already said that, so I don't think I need to talk about each book because they are all staying at 5 stars. I'm not changing that. And then, we have The Traitor Queen, which is the second book in the Bridge Kingdom series. This is a series of like 6 books, but there's 3 duologies within it, but you do want to read it in order. 2 books follow certain people, the next 2 follow certain people, and then the next 2 follow other people. Thinking about the way this book ends, I would definitely keep it at 5 stars. I really enjoyed this series. I really enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed the second one. I'm planning on reading the 3rd and the 4th one very soon. Definitely gonna keep that one at 5 stars. That was good. The ending of that one made me cry. It was really good. Now we have the first book that I ever read by Fredrik Backman, which is Anxious People. I feel like I don't see too many people talking about this one. This is definitely still a 5 stars. I think it was such a sweet and beautiful story, and I also cried reading this one. See, his stories, like, I feel like the summary makes it sound, it tries to summarize it into the most basic thing it could be, and his books are anything but basic. They say that it's about a bank robbery and an open house. There is so much more going on in that book than just a bank robbery and an open house, and in, I think it's like 300 pages, you grow to love these characters, and the way it ends too, there's very like full circle moments. Absolutely staying a 5 star. Then we have the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. I think it's hard to keep romances at a 5 star unless it was like absolutely impeccable, and I think I'd move this one more to a 4 star. I don't remember what happened, to be completely honest. I know I really enjoyed it, but I don't think this like moved me in a way that my other 5 stars have, so I feel like I can't keep it on the same base level. Next we have As Good as Dead, which is the 3rd book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. See, I am not someone who really reads that. I think those are the only like murder mystery books I've ever read, and they were really good, but I read them a long time ago. That'd be something you'd have to reread, I feel like, to give a full opinion, but the way this book ends is pretty insane. And honestly, I think I would keep it as 5 stars because in the moment I remember, like, if you know when you've read it, like the last page is still kind of a cliffhanger, which is crazy. And just the stuff that happens in these books. You're following Pip, and she decided for her like capstone project or something for her high school that she was gonna try to figure out what actually happened to someone who was killed in their town, and she believes that someone was falsely accused. And it's very interesting. Honestly, I don't remember what actually like fully went down and like who did what, but I was definitely caught off guard by pretty much everything. Next we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I read this in 2022 and I think it found me at the perfect time. I will definitely leave this at a 5 star, and I was actually just thinking about rereading it because this story, I think it was so beautiful. I said in my review, I never really write reviews, so I really liked a book if I wrote a review. I said, so eye-opening, but I understand now that from TikTok that it's very, very subjective. I think that some people really need to hear the message of the book, and other people, maybe it wasn't meant for them at that time. I think I really need to hear it when I found it, and I honestly think I need to read it again. So maybe I'll do a little video rereading some books. We'll see. Alright, next we have The Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second book in the Inheritance game. What's supposed to be a trilogy, now there's like 5 or 6 books that I haven't picked up. I read the original 3 and didn't continue because I thought that was kind of just silly. I feel like it didn't need to be continued. I don't know, I feel like everything kind of wrapped up. I don't really remember what happened. I remember I really enjoyed the books. At this point, maybe I would move it to like a 4 stars. This book definitely didn't make me feel how I feel about a lot of my 5 stars, so I don't think this one would stay a 5 star. I don't remember what happens at all. I did read this a while ago, but I think in my earlier reading career I was a lot more generous with 5 stars, and now I don't give them out as much. And then next we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is 100% gonna stay a 5 star. This book was so good. I really enjoyed reading about them like falling in love with each other, and Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn. This is the only book of hers that I've ever read, and I definitely want to read more of her books. I have The Wall of Winnipeg in me, and I really want to get into it at some point. I just find her books a little intimidating because they're pretty long, but I think it would be worth it because I absolutely loved All Roads Lead Here. Next, we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This book, I honestly can't really remember what happens. I don't really know. As I was saying before, romances are, I feel like, hard to rate a 5 star because for me a 5 star is going to be something that like emotionally impacted me heavily, and a romance isn't always going to be that. I feel like they typically sit at like 4 or 4.5 stars, and that's kind of how it's just gonna have to be. But then I also like, I'm with the people who are like, I rated it for 5 stars for a reason at one point in my life, and maybe now it wouldn't be, but at one point it was a 5 star to me. Even so, I don't really remember what happens. I don't know, it feels weird to be like, oh, I don't think it's 5 star anymore. I'm not sure. I literally cannot remember what happens though, so maybe we should move it to a 4 star. Then we have Haunting Adeline. This book I definitely am not leaving a 5 star. This was the only dark romance that I've ever read, and I've seen a lot of stuff about it. This is probably closer to like a 3 star. It's very strange. He's her stalker and she falls in love with him, and it's just, I don't like it. I don't like the vibes. I'm not a fan. I'm gonna move it down to like a 3.5, or what did I say, 3.75 probably. I don't know. Oh, I didn't even notice this. So we have The Final Gambit, which is the 3rd book in the Inheritance game trilogy. Not really sure how I feel about it at this point, honestly. As I said, like a lot of the 5 stars that I have are from like 2 years ago, and I don't remember much from the books, but books that are like really truly 5 stars for me, I feel like there's gonna be something from it that stuck with me, and nothing really stuck with me for that one, so probably gonna drop that one down. I don't know what to, because I don't really remember what happened. You know, a lot did actually happen at the end of that. I remember that was pretty crazy. You know what, I think we're gonna keep it at 5 stars. Oh, and then we have The Ballad of Never After, which is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. 100% staying at 5 star. I absolutely love this trilogy. I think it's a perfect series to get into reading or to get into fantasy. It's not too heavy on the whole like fantasy realm element, and also there's not really much politics going on like there are for a lot of fantasy, so I think it's the perfect way to segue yourself into it. And this book, I remember reading the second book before the third one came out, and this second book ends on the fattest cliffhanger ever. So that was crazy. I remember staying up so late to read this, and I was like, no way. There's no way it just ended like that. Definitely staying at 5 star. Alright, this is gonna contradict what I was saying about romances, but we have You With a View by Jessica Joyce, and I really enjoyed this one. The girl's like trying to figure out something about her family and like her grandmother, who her grandmother was with. She had like a secret lover pretty much, and she ends up posting about it, and it goes viral on TikTok, and I think it's the grandson figures out that it's his grandfather that she's talking about, and then the three of them all go on like a road trip together, and obviously the two end up falling in love and whatever. And I just thought it was a really sweet story, and I really liked the road trip aspect, so that's staying a 5 star. Next we have Divine Rivals, 100% staying a 5 star. This book was phenomenal. I have only ever read the Divine Rivals duology by Rebecca Ross. I have a couple of her other books, and I really want to get into them because I love the way she writes them. I know a lot of people didn't like the second book, and I loved it. I guess maybe I'm not as particular as some people, but I really enjoyed it. And I like the gods aspect, and the magical typewriters is so cool. Like, so fun. And it always makes me wonder, like, how do people come up with these kinds of things? I don't get it. Next, we have possibly my favorite book of the year this year, which is A Song to Drown Rivers. This book, I believe, is a retelling of, I think it's maybe a Chinese, I don't know the word, like, I don't want to say lore, like not mythology either, I'm not sure, but it's about this woman who's said to be like the most beautiful woman in the world, and a king hires her to infiltrate another kingdom. And that's all I'm going to give you, because I think everyone should sit down and read this book, give it a chance. It's so good because you feel something for every single character, even if you maybe seems like you shouldn't. Definitely staying a 5 star. Then we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This was my first ever cozy fantasy. Made me realize I love cozy fantasy. Definitely staying a 5 star. I absolutely adore these characters, and I think they're perfect. I think Sarah Beth Durst is amazing, and the things that she comes up with, and the little magical creatures and the spell elements, it's really wonderful, and I want to be in that world so bad, and I cannot wait for the third book in this little like interconnected series to come out. Next we have, see, we have a couple romances now that will contradict what I said before, but I don't care. So we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I think this is her most, this isn't her most recent release. No, that was last year that she came out with it, but this book is definitely staying at 5 stars. I remember the way I felt when I was reading it, and it was so perfect. I believe this is the one about the girl who is a traveling nurse, and she doesn't like to have attachments, and she has some family problems, but it's just such a good book. And then we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I have read every single one of her books, and there's only been one that I didn't like, but Summer Romance I loved. She puts so much depth into her characters for how short her books are, and I like following people who are older. Mainly her characters are usually women in like their 30s who had just gotten divorced, and they're kind of just trying to take care of their kids, trying to be the best of themselves for their kids. These women have priorities, and they're strong, and they're independent, and I really like that. So that's staying 5 stars, in case I didn't say that. And then we have A Novel Love Story. This concept was so fun. This girl gets thrown into her favorite book, like her favorite book's world, and there's a guy in there who's also in the world, and you can tell that he doesn't belong because she's read the book so many times and he's never been in the series. And there's kind of like a mystery aspect because you don't know why he's there, and like what his connection is and how he got there. I don't think I'm gonna leave this 5 stars. I think it was really, really good. I think maybe I'll give it 4 stars now, but I really enjoyed the way this ended. I thought it was really sweet. I don't know, for me the ending like makes or breaks it, and this ending was really, really good. But still, I don't have that like feeling with this one, so I think 4 stars is more appropriate. Then we have The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. This was phenomenal. It's a second chance romance. Although I remember being very frustrated by this story, but I don't know. This was really, really good. I read it this year and I remember thinking it was so good. So I don't know though. I think I'm gonna move it more to 4 stars. These characters were a bit frustrating, but I really loved how we followed them through their, like, we got to watch them like re-fall in love with each other all over again, and that was really sweet. But I don't love a miscommunication. I feel like there maybe was one. I'm not 100% positive, but I feel like there was. And then next we have Powerful. It's the first novella in the Powerless trilogy. This one follows Peyton's best friend, Ada, and I adored this. I think I liked this better than like the actual Powerless story. I think she was a wonderful side character, and her story is just so sad. Definitely leaving that one a 5 stars. Then we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is my 3rd book from Rachel Gillig. I read the One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns duology. Love those books. Absolutely obsessed with The Night and the Moth. The concepts that she comes up with are so interesting. This is staying at 5 stars, and I cannot wait for the next book. Then we have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I don't think I'm going to leave this one at 5 stars. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I enjoyed it. I did like it, but I think it's more of like a 4, maybe even a little lower than that. I just feel weird when I think about it. I don't know how to explain it, but 5 stars is not the right rating for this book for me. And then we have One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is the most perfect summer read ever. I read it in a day. It's absolutely amazing. And just learning more about these characters is so beautiful. This is her newest release too, I believe. And definitely pick it up in the summertime, by the pool, by the beach, wherever. It's just genuinely the best summer read I've ever read. Next, we have The Enchanted Greenhouse, which is the 2nd book in the Spell Shop little interconnected series. This is a very recent read, and it's definitely staying 5 stars. As I said before, I love these characters. I love this world. I love the magical elements for it. It's absolutely perfect. We have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Her storytelling in this is phenomenal. I loved the aspect of it where we're following a whole nother story within the story because we're learning with the characters, and I absolutely love that. That's definitely 100% staying 5 stars. That was actually the last 5 star that we have in here. I didn't even realize that. So I don't know how many books that is, but those are all of my recorded 5-star reads. When I was a little bit younger, like Twilight and Divergent were 5-star reads, like those series, but I'm not including that in here. So that brings us to the end of the video. Hopefully this coming year brings us some more 5-star reads that will actually stay 5-star reads. I think I need to reevaluate my rating a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!